Welcome everybody to the second Student Competition Center info sessions. Hopefully you were able to join us yesterday. If not, that's okay. I will be sending out the PowerPoint from yesterday. We unfortunately were not able to record the session, but I will certainly send out the slides so you will not have missed any information necessarily. This is our last collaborative recruiting session. Next week starts all of the specific team info sessions, so I will be sending an email out to everyone regarding what times, dates, and blue jeans links or whatever links the teams are using to hop onto so that you can go and look at those specific recruiting events. One thing I'll say is that nothing is a binding contract, so feel free to go to as many or as few team info meetings as you would like. Every team, I'm sure, really hopes that you will join their specific team, but nothing is binding. The purpose of these is really to explore the team's goals and personalities. So do what you will. So we're going to start off with a quick introduction, then go into our presentation, which is all about the benefits of being a Student Competition Center team member. And then we will have individual presentations from GT Off-Road, EcoCAR, Solar, and
High Tech.
Sorry about that. Trying to list them all in my head. So we'll have presentations from all of them and then finish off the night with a Q&A. So you can either type in the chat questions while we go through the different slides or hold your questions until the end, whichever one you would like. And we will answer as many as we possibly can in the time limit that we have. So without further ado, hi, I'm Becca. I am the Student Competition Center Governing Board Secretary. I'm also a representative from Rec Racing and GT Off-Road. So do we have any other reps from Rec? I think so tonight. We have Solar?
Hi, I'm Aaron, or AJ. Call me whatever you like. I'm the outreach lead for GT Solar.
I'm Isaac Weintraub. I'm the electrical team lead for Solar Racing.
And I'm Noah Dorfman, the president of Georgia Tech Solar Racing.
All right, sweet. And we have Eco?
Hey guys, my name is Nishan. I'm the engineering manager for the EcoCAR team. I think I'm joined by Christian Free on the call. Christian, you want to say a word, or are you hiding?
I'm just kind of lurking back here, but I'm here for you.
Yeah, Christian's our mechanical lead, so that's that for the two of us.
All right, sweet. And High Tech?
Yeah, hey guys, my name's David. I'm the High Tech Racing president.
And I'm Leo here, chief engineer for High Tech.
All right, and G-Tor?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
I'm Steven. I'm the co-chief engineer for Off-Road. Been on the team since my first week of my freshman year, so it's been a long time. I think I'm the only one today other than Rebecca.
All right, do we have GTMS on?
Yeah, I just pulled up. Okay. Hey guys, my name is Nick. I am the team lead of GT Motorsports, as well as the vice chair of the Student Competition Center Governing Board.
All right, and RoboJackets.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm the president of RoboJackets. Yeah.
All right. Are there any other team representatives that we missed? All right, sweet. So, yep, we have representatives from all the teams. So during that Q&A session, hopefully we're able to answer as any general or team-specific questions you have. So AJ, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. So what is the SCC? Starting off for anyone who was not able to join us for previous sessions, the Student Competition Center, SCC, it is the space for 7 teams, so 6 automotive and 1 huge robotics competition engineering team. The SCC refers to the collaborative idea of these 7 teams working together in one space. So we work in a space about a mile off campus, around down Hemp Hill, so about a mile off West Campus. And that's where all of our cars are most of our fabrication equipment, conference rooms, everything like that is located. So it's just this huge collaborative space and is really second to none compared to all the other opportunities that Georgia Tech provides. Who are our teams? We have, as I said, we have 7. So rec racing, off-road, high-tech, GTMS, RoboJackets, solar, and EcoCAR. So we heard from rec, motorsports, and RoboJackets yesterday, and today we will hear from high-tech, off-road, solar, and EcoCAR. Right. So we all compete in different competitions. Some of us locally in the U.S. and some of us internationally. So quite a few of us, especially the automotive teams, will stay in state. So the $2,000 challenge would be rec racing. That's in Gainesville, Florida. And then we have Formula Sun with solar, Baja SAE, Formula SAE, and Formula Hybrid. So that would be G-Tour, GTMS, and high-tech, and then EcoCar Mobility Challenge, of course, for EcoCar. And then RoboJackets has a couple domestic and a couple international. Some teams, like GTMS in the past has done international competitions. It really depends on the year and what the team is planning, whether it'll be domestic or international. Alex, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. So as far as international competitions go, RoboJackets has 3 different ones listed here. One is Robo Cup, which is our 6v6 Thomas soccer team that competes in a different country every single year. We have Robo Wrestling, which competes in Japan, and Robo Racing, which competes in Canada. Canada is technically international. So we go to those as well, and I go overseas.
All right, so with each of these competition teams, you're not only going to get these, this hands-on experience of design work and everything like that, but through these different competitions and experiences, you're going to also develop leadership skills and communication skills and teamwork skills. So at all of these competitions, there's going to be presentations, and you're going to be networking with different companies, either for sponsorship or I know some events even have some type of mini career fair going on. So through these teams, you'll be networking with all of those companies. And of course, it's, working under pressure. Something goes wrong on your car or your robot, and you have to fix it in order to continue to compete. Whether it be an endurance race or, a drag race, something will be going wrong on your car, or your robot. Also balancing coursework with team progress. There's some of us that, go into the SCC 40 hours a week, just because we love it and lots to do. But, you have to maintain all of your classes and all of your work in a timely manner so that you can still remain on the SCC teams. Just what you have to do. And then, of course, finances and budgeting. When you're part of these teams, we operate as mini businesses almost. So there's a lot of facets of the team that not many people recognize straight out of the gate when they first join the team. So even if you're, a hardcore mechanical engineering major wanting to work specifically on CAD and design work, you might find yourself working on something you don't expect, and maybe taking up one of those more administrative positions, especially if you're in a leadership role, dealing with some of the budgets and talking with Georgia Tech administrators and everything, all the fun things that go along with that. So all of these competitions, as I mentioned earlier, some of them have very specific competition sponsors. And something that's cool about this is that these companies have kind of a soft spot for the kids on these teams. So, they are specifically going to be recruiting you for the fact that they know that when they get a student from one of these teams, they know what they're getting. Someone who's had, the experiences that you've had, you're hardworking, you're part of this team, you're balancing the team and schoolwork. So these teams are a really great opportunity to network with these companies. Definitely don't join a team because you're like, oh, I don't know, GTMS has partnerships with SolidWorks, and that's really where I want to work. Like, that's definitely pick the team for you. But all of these companies are in high support of all of these teams, and it's a very good bonus to take part in. Not only do the competitions have sponsors, but the SCC as a whole, as well as the individual SCC teams, have sponsors. Some of our biggest are GM, 3M, CAT. So these companies will actually come into the SCC specifically for recruitment events. So you might have seen through a different org, or, just kind of the ME school or maybe College of Computing or something that, there's these tech talks by companies, or they might come in for a resume review or a career fair. But for instance, GM has actually brought in cars to the Student Competition Center and sat and looked at people's resumes and heavily recruited from the SEC. So there's some companies where you are a very small pool of applicants that they're looking for. And actually, what we find is a lot of the Georgia Tech recruiters that come back kind of have a soft spot for SCC members because they were on SCC teams. So again, it's just another kind of boost whenever you're looking towards a career or an internship or a co-op. Having that SCC name and having one of those team names and being able to explain, what you did for the team, what projects you worked on, will highly benefit you in that hiring process. Being able to talk about your hands-on experiences and challenges you've faced within your team within the SCC.
I also just want to chime in here. We really can't overstate enough how much these companies love SCC members. I just completed an internship with Milwaukee Tool, who you can see up on the screen now, and my cube mate was a former member of GT Motorsports. One of the people on my direct team was the former electrical lead for GT Solar, and I met 3 other people there, full-time engineers who came from Georgia Tech Student Competition Center. So they really recognize the great things the teams have to offer, and that definitely gives you a step up in those recruiting processes.
We kind of already talked about this, but there are the SEC recruiting events. They also, some SEC sponsors will give in-kind donations to teams, whether that be, the SEC as a whole. Milwaukee is one of the SEC's full sponsors, and they donated a bunch of tools that were super, super helpful last year. So you can see a bunch of us with all the Milwaukee tools. And then some companies that are more specific sponsors to very certain teams will do some in-kind donations of tools or equipment or different fabrication processes throughout the year. So it's a really cool networking opportunity because also you kind of get to learn about the sponsors just as they learn about you. There's also, they'll come in and do some events like really specialized tech talks, whether that be regarding safety or a cool process. We had, I think it was Fusion 360, Autodesk. They came in and talked about generative design last year, and Kat came in to talk about safety. So there's all sorts of opportunities, just kind of like if you were in a professional society on campus, we come in, or the sponsors come in and do talks like that. But it's a really cool gig with those partnerships. And then, of course, leadership opportunities. So we kind of highlighted the SCCGB yesterday, but for those of you who could not make it, the SCCGB, or the governing board, it's a 5-member team, and then plus all sorts of representatives from teams. We all work together to collaborate on different efforts, whether that be training throughout the SCC or recruitment, different things like that. So we have opportunities for you to lead the big picture of the SCC. Also, every team individually has their own form of an executive board with sub-team leads and project leads. However the team decides to create that system. So, if you're looking for not only to participate, but also to, take ownership of some things, whether that be a design or whether that be, the business team or sponsorship, there's so many things on the team that you can get involved with, that you can really take ownership in, and gain leadership skills through that. And of course, although sometimes time gets away from us, you really do have an enhanced school performance. The SCC is where you get to apply all of the theory that you learned in the classroom. So whether that be creating or looking at stress and strain, whether that be putting together circuitry or computer and software systems, it's really where you get to be hands-on at all times, working on fabrication, working on the different deliverables and different products, through all of the access to training and tools and software that you wouldn't necessarily get while just sitting in your dorm room. So, these hands-on opportunities, similar to the makerspaces and the invention studio, it's really one of the core pieces that Georgia Tech offers to students, and that we hope that all of you take advantage of. As I said, there's a variety of positions. Just because you are not a mechanical engineer or an engineer in general doesn't mean that there's not a place for you on one of these teams. All the teams are in need of every major, and even if you say you are a mechanical engineer, but you really want to work on some of the circuits, or maybe you really want to work on some other aspect of the team, you are more than welcome to. We really don't take major necessarily into account and say, oh, you're assigned here, you're assigned there. So it's really going to be what you make of it. No one is going to be restricted based on the major. And know that even if you don't necessarily find an exact position on the teams are always open to new suggestions and things that you can bring to the team. One thing that's really cool is the diversity of thought within all of the teams, and everyone at the end of the day just really wants to have their teams grow. So there's definitely a place for you. And then a lot of the teams take part in different outreach and volunteering efforts, whether that be bringing high schoolers or middle schoolers into the SCC itself for school tours. Those are really, really fun. Sometimes we go to the schools, bring our cars and robots. RoboJackets does a lot of FIRST Robotics volunteering, if anyone has any experience with that. Also, there's different community STEM days across the Metro Atlanta area, whether that be through car shows or just different events that we all take part in, just to kind of give back to the community and inspire the next generation of tech students. All right, and now we're going to turn it over to our 4 teams, and then finish off with a Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Becca, for the introduction. So like I said earlier, my name is David Knight. I am the High Tech Racing president, and I will be telling you guys a little more about our team. So what is High Tech Racing? So High Tech is Georgia Tech's Formula SAE electric racing team. So kind of like GT Motorsports, but all electric. We were founded in 2012, so we're quite a young team, but we've really done a lot in the time that we've been around, and we've gotten pretty advanced in the short amount of time that we've been here. So we compete in FSAE California, the electric version of their competition. And we have engineering team, obviously, our primary purpose is engineering. And then we also have business and project management, kind of like what Becca was saying for all the teams. We have a very in-depth business and management structure that we have to follow as a team. So High Tech has 118 members from 2019 to 2020. It's one of the larger clubs on campus. Most of the SCC teams really are big for a student organization. And we have members from 12 different countries and 15 states. So a lot of representation from around the world. go to the next slide. Yeah, so like I was saying about our organizational structure, so we operate as a team, as a team, and then we have sub-teams and a structure kind of below our team. So we have a project management, which really just manages the entire team. So everything that you see here, that's project management leads, the president and the chief engineer are really the core members of that team. And then below that, you have mechanical and electrical sub-teams. So everything from aerodynamics, chassis, controls, composites, powertrain, suspension, those are our mechanical sub-teams. And they just really build all of the mechanical aspects of the car. So all the structural components, everything, doing a lot of analysis, and handling all of the mechanical side of things. Then the electrical team does more circuit design, control system, and the design of the battery pack. Then business really just makes everything run. So we have a finance team which manages our budget, an outreach team which maintains our sponsor relations and does things like social media, and then design is to create the graphics that you see on all of our public material and content, basically. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so our car, our 2019 to 2020 competition car was HT04. That's the car that you see on the screen. We actually won Formula Hybrid in 2019. It was the second year in a row that we'd won that competition, which is why we are changing our competition this year. We're going to FSAE California. It's a bit more of a competitive competition. And HT05 was our 2019 to 2020 vehicle, and the competition was canceled due to COVID. So they're allowing us to bring that car to next year's competition. So we're currently in the manufacturing stages of our vehicle. Typically in the fall we would be doing design work, but we have to just adjust to this situation as we have it, and we're really in a manufacturing push right now. Next slide. And I'm going to let Leo Posdeny, he is the chief engineer, take over for to explain some of the engineering sides of the car.
Right. So I'm going to just describe some of the specific projects that we work and what could interest you in our team. So on the mechanical side, we do a lot of CAD design. Specifically, all our CAD design is heavily optimized for weight as we strive to build the lightest car we possibly can. So we do a lot of finite element analysis and topology optimization of our parts. We also perform a lot of CNC machining, actually creating those parts out of aluminum and other materials. And we also perform suspension analysis and design based on the data that we collect in various analysis tools and during testing. We also developed a aerodynamics kit, like the front and rear wings, and we perform a lot of computational fluid dynamics simulations to develop those components as well as like the body work of the car to make sure that it is as aerodynamic as possible. And we also perform a lot of composite manufacturing to manufacture those components out of lighter materials like carbon fiber and Kevlar. And we also perform a lot of vehicle testing to collect data on our car and learn how to drive it, and learn how we can improve it in future years. And so on the electrical side of the team, we do a lot of printed circuit board design. Really, almost the entire electrical stack of the vehicle is custom designed and custom built, and only a few components are purchased off the shelf. So we have to do a lot of design and a lot of manufacturing of PCBs. We also do a lot of embedded development because our car runs on embedded microcontrollers, so we have to design for that. And we perform a lot of data collection, visualization and analysis, a lot of programming efforts, go into that to ensure that we collect as much data as we can, and we have redundancy in our systems, and we can analyze the data later to make better decisions about our car. We also design a 300-volt battery pack and high voltage electronics that go into controlling a battery pack. And we perform a lot of system integration because there are a lot of different subsystems on the car, and so they need to work together well. And at the end, we also do some web design for a lot of public distribution materials, as well as some internal project management tools and visualization software.
All right, so to get involved with our team, first you're going to want to scan the QR code if you have your phone here, or go to that link tree. It has a few links, a link to our website, our info session, or our mailing list, so a form to sign up on our mailing list. And we also have 2 videos that we recorded from our virtual workshops from last week. If you missed those, definitely go check those out. So HiTech will be having 2 info sessions on the 26th and 27th at 7 p.m. So those will be virtual, and we'll be communicating with our mailing list on how to join those and how to what links to follow to get there. So for new members, there's a lot of questions from new members about, what are we going to be doing on the team because of COVID, and how are we going to be staying socially distant? So we're holding training sessions that start on September 1st. Again, we'll be communicating with our mailing list on how to join those, and they will be completely virtual. So it's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. And if you want to get a feeling as to what those are going to kind of be like, the 2 videos in the link tree will definitely give you kind of an idea of how we're going to be training our members this semester. And then, when everything is kind of died down, and we're going to be cycling people in as much as we can during COVID, but after this situation is over is when we'll really be bringing people into the shop to get some hands-on experience that we always talk about here. So that's pretty much everything for HiTech. I believe GT Off-Road is next, so I'll send it over to you guys. Thank you guys for coming, though.
Hey, thanks for the introduction, David. Can everybody hear me? Nods? Nice. Okay, so like I said before, my name's Steven. I'm the co-chief engineer for Georgia Tech Off-Road. And I'm just going to give you guys a real quick rundown of what the team is and what you could expect if you were to join. So Georgia Tech Off-Road is Georgia Tech's official Baja SAA team. What we do is we design and build from the ground up every single year a single-seat prototype recreational vehicle. The idea for our competition is that we're building a recreational vehicle that could be sold in some sort of ATV or UTV market. We're a group like all the others that take people from all different majors. Everybody's welcome. Any level of experience is also welcome. We will equip you with the skills that you need to be successful on the team. All we really look for is someone who's interested and takes initiative on projects. To give you a general sense of the team, we're broken into 6 major subsystems. So we have a chassis subsystem, which is the frame of the car, but that also includes our composites and aerodynamics work. We also have a drivetrain subsystem, which has gone through major redesigns this year because of a rule change where all cars in the Baja SA competition have to be 4-wheel drive. We also have a suspension subsystem that's responsible for connecting everything from basically the wheel to the frame of the car. Then we have a driver control subsystem. This is everything that the driver interfaces with, so steering, brakes, all that. Then we have a data acquisition team, which is really there to facilitate all the data acquisition and design validation projects that we pursue. They're basically our electrical team. Then we have a brand new sub-team this year called the Vehicle Dynamics and Simulations team, and they're building a high-fidelity atoms simulation for our vehicle. That way we can do all sorts of analysis and inform high-level vehicle design for the future. So that's a brand new subsystem. It's pretty exciting. We also have a business team that's responsible for budgeting, sponsor relations, PR, and much, much more. So we're always looking to expand our business team as well. for a sense on how large the team is, we usually are around 45 members strong. And we have like a core set of leads that we divvy up each of those members into. Usually about 7 to 8. Some subsystems run a bit light with like 2 to 3 members in that team. We also have a lot of members on the team that work on multiple subsystems, so you get a lot of exposure to the whole vehicle. The next slide. Okay, so our competition. We have 3 national competitions each year that we try to attend. We have one usually on the eastern side of the United States, one on the western side, and somewhere in the middle. Like I said, we build a car from the ground up every year. It's completely new by competition rule every single year. So we go through a full design and build cycle for every competition season, that is. There's usually about 115 teams at each of these competitions, and the competitions are multi-day. So it'll be usually from a Thursday to, say, a Sunday. And they're broken up into some main events, mostly static and dynamic events. The static events will take you through a cost report, a sales presentation, as well as design presentation. So you kind of have to defend all sides of the of your vehicle, including the how marketable it is. And then we move into the fun stuff, the dynamic events. It's like basically just a series of events to really put your car to the limits. So there's an acceleration event to test how quick your vehicle is. There's a maneuverability event to test how well the vehicle handles. There's a traction or hill climb event, so like a hill climb or a sled pull, to see how powerful your vehicle is. And then there's a suspension and traction event that's solely just to break your car. So they'll throw everything at you with the only purpose of breaking the car. Most teams don't finish this event, but they'll throw rocks, logs, jumps, mud pits, you name it. And then the very last day is the endurance race day. This is very unique in the world of SAE. All of the cars race on the track at the same time. So you're actually racing wheel to wheel with 100 teams at once. So it draws pretty large crowds, and you'll see carnage of all sorts. They basically take that suspension event from the previous day and make it into this endurance race. The endurance race is a 4-hour race, and you just race continuously. If your car breaks, they'll tow you back to your trailer. You can fix your car within the 4 hours and get it back out. The winner of that event is whoever has the most laps on the track in that 4-hour span. So it's really exciting. Definitely getting dirty and getting your hands on broken hardware. Lots of sweet carnage. Next slide, please. So for new members, it's going to look slightly different this year just with everything that's going on. The way we're going to start people out is through design seminars. So we will have first an introduction to like the different subsystems of the vehicle, because we think it's really important that our members have a general sense of how the vehicle operates. And then we'll likely break into like an electrical track and a mechanical track, which will get into more of some of the fundamentals of design there. And then as we start to complete some of those, we will start you guys on what we're calling starter projects. These projects aren't just like random projects that we're giving to people that aren't relevant to the design cycle. Most of these are custom components like custom calipers, custom rack that we're trying to implement in this design cycle. We also have some like new projects. We're continuously trying to develop our ECVT, which is an electronically controlled continuously variable transmission. We're trying to revamp our shock dynamometer as well as our engine dyno as well. So there's a slew of projects that we'll have people working on, and really that's where we're talking about. We're looking for initiative and people to try to like own something. As we can, we'll be bringing people into the shop to do hands-on training, but we'll be holding our shop nights that we call them virtually. That way we can maintain some sort of like kind of a community sense, which I think is really important during this time. Like I said before, our car is meant to be recreational, and that's kind of how we structure our team. We're really just trying to have a good time. We're very competitive and we want to win, but we're really looking to have fun and like throughout the whole process. So next slide. So this is our information to join the team. We have an interest form at this link. You can also follow the QR code, or you can just type in Georgia Tech Off-Road. and you can find our website online. It has an interest form that you can fill out there. We're holding 2 info sessions next week, which will be virtual, one on Monday and one on Tuesday. We invite you to come to one of those 2. Definitely don't need to come to 2 unless you're really pumped about it. But yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. So I can take it up next for GT Solar Racing. If you tuned in late, my name is Aaron Wasserman. Feel free to call me AJ. About half of people do. And I'm the outreach lead for GT Solar Racing. So I'm going to start off, actually, with our interest form and info sessions. So if you don't take anything else away from my brief presentation here, take these to mind. So if you're interested in our virtual info sessions, which will be on the 25th and 31st at 6 p.m., go ahead and fill out that interest form. We'll be sending out the Blue Jeans links to everyone who's interested there. So that tinyurl.com/joingtsr, that's the most important part of my presentation. Our individual info sessions are really the best way to learn about the team in detail, get a good idea of our plans for the fall semester, and also get to talk to some of our members to get some more personalized experiences. So just starting off with who we are, as the name suggests, we're the go-to student org for designing, building, and racing solar-powered electric cars. So we're really pushing the cutting edge of hyper-efficient vehicles in all elements of our design. So we're an entirely student-run team, and we have some really great opportunities for hands-on design experiences. This is a photo of our most recent car, SR3, with the members who were there at the Formula Sun Grand Prix event in summer 2019. So this is the car that we're currently working with, so we're going to keep improving this one as we move into the future of our team, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So just breaking down our team structure a little bit, we have 2 main engineering teams, the mechanical team and the electrical team. On each of those 2 teams, we have sub-teams covering different elements of the car. So on the mechanical side of things, we have the frame team, the suspension team, the aero body team, and the steering team. So I put up kind of some of the skills and areas of knowledge that you'll be exposed to should you join one of the teams. So if you're really interested in statics and def bods, frame is a really great opportunity to learn about some of those skills. So I'll give you guys a second, just take a look through some of those skills listed out. I won't read them all out, I know you guys can read, but if you're interested in any of these, we offer some really great hands-on experiences that can help you develop those skills. On the electrical side of things, we also have some more sub-teams. Those are the batteries and BMS, which is the battery management system. We have the drivetrain, also commonly referred to as powertrain. We have aux systems and solar and maximum power point tracking. And then we have telemetry. So like a lot of the other teams, we have a pretty robust system for collecting data from the car in real time. Our car does that over RF and also over 4G. So we have some members that work really hard to get really accurate vehicle simulations, get all that data in real time, and help us train our drivers on how to drive the car most efficiently. With a solar car, compared to the other SCC teams, we're a lot less about speed and a lot more about endurance. So it's great if your solar car can do 80 miles an hour, but if you're out of charge in 3 laps and the sun can't replenish that, you're not going to do too well. We also, like many of the other teams who do electronics, do most of our electrical stack from the ground up. So we're a great team if you want to do PCB design, if you want to learn how to solder. Embedded systems is also a huge element of our electrical team. So if any of that is interesting to you, this is a great way to really get a stake of the car that you can contribute heavily to and add that to your portfolio. So we spend all this time covering the engineering side, but so many people forget there's a lot more to teams than just engineering. In addition to those 2 engineering teams, we also have an operations side of the team. That's where you'll get things like our race operations lead. They handle all of our mock races. They handle the logistics of getting our whole team and the car to the race. And then they'll also oversee things like strategy. So we do all this great job collecting data from the car. Now what do we do with it? So they'll analyze that and in real time give feedback to the driver who's out on the course on what they can be doing to squeeze as much performance and endurance out of the car as we can. We're also entirely self-funded. So building a solar car is not cheap, and that's where our business team comes in. They work with our corporate sponsors to make sure that we have the funding, resources, and materials we need to put together such a vehicle. And then finally, on that operation side of things, we have outreach, which is myself. So coming out here doing recruiting, presentations like this, also doing public events like the Atlanta International Auto Show. So there's a lot of other lenses to a team. So even if you aren't a traditional engineering major, there's really a spot for you on GT Solar Racing. Now to cover our competitions. We actually compete in 2 different competitions. The first is the Formula Sun Grand Prix. This is an annual track style race. The last one that was held was in 2019. It was at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. So this was our first race for that SR3 vehicle that I mentioned, our most recent car. Unfortunately, FSGP was delayed, so it didn't happen this summer. But that's what we're preparing this car to handle next. Doing well at FSGP qualifies you for our endurance race, the American Solar Challenge. So this is a cross-country race held on even years. So you qualify for this race, as I mentioned, by performing well in the Formula Sun Grand Prix track style event. In 2018, we raced our second generation car, SR2, 1,700 miles from Omaha, Nebraska to Bend, Oregon, along the historic Oregon Trail. So, like I said, our competition is much more about endurance and efficiency than it is about raw speed and handling, because we need to make sure that on just the power we're getting from our solar array, we can keep the car going 1,700 miles without charging up off the wall. So you can start a race with a full battery, but once you cross that starting line, you're entirely up to the sun. So I mentioned earlier that there are some changes in our future. So we are moving into a new class of competition. Historically, we've been in the Challenger class, which is a one-seater electric vehicle. But our new car that we're beginning design work on now is a multi-occupant or cruiser class vehicle. So you can see an early rendering here of one of the design ideas that's been pitched. So with this, it brings on exciting new challenges for us to solve as a team, and we think it fits better with Tech's vision of a sustainable world. So anyone who's wondering, how can I be involved remotely? We have so much design work on our plate that we will have no shortage of work that can be done from home. So come to our individual info sessions. You'll hear all about how we plan to do that, how we're going to handle training. But I can really assure you, lots of our members are going to be remote, and we're going to ensure that we have something for everyone. And then in terms of being physically in the space, we recognize that that's a really big aspect of the SCC teams. That's one of the big enticing factors, and it's really important to your overall experience. So we're making sure that in addition to the essential people rotating through shop, we're going to give new members a chance to get in as well. So if you're interested in GT Solar Racing, once again, please come to our info sessions. Those will be on the 25th and the 31st at 6 p.m. If you're interested, you can fill out the interest form, tinyurl.com/joingtsr, and we'll send you all the information you need to know to get involved. That's it for solar, and then we can move on to EcoCAR.
Cool. It's been a long call. I'm going to try to get this done by 7:22. I got 2 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm going to power through this real quick. All right, so EcoCAR Mobility Challenge. You see a car right there. That's our Chevy Blazer. That's what we're working on for these few years. But we worked on this Camaro over here, and it's an electric Camaro, and we still have it. It's still running. It's an awesome car. So we're part of the AVTC series, which is Advanced Vehicle Technology Competitions. We've worked with methanol, with future trucks, just really weird advanced vehicle technologies. We focus on emerging vehicle technologies, like alternative fuels, like I mentioned. We do hybrid and electric powertrains. And the one thing that's unique about EcoCAR is we do driver assistance systems. And I'll go into that a bit later. We have 12 participants. AJ, if you want to click through that. They're just universities from all over the country, and also a couple from Canada as well. Next slide, please. So what are the competition goals? We design and integrate a hybrid powertrain. So GM gives us a car that's fully functioning. We kind of take this car apart and then make it a hybrid. One thing that's unique about this year is we're also developing SAE Level 2 automation. For those who are not familiar, AJ, a click please. SAE automation goes from level 0 to 5, 5 being a fully autonomous car. Level 2 is kind of in between, where we can follow a car in front of us and kind of stay in the lane as well. But the driver still needs to be paying attention and kind of holding onto the wheel. So not like fully autonomous, but like we're slowly working towards it. Another unique thing is that we're making a 99% market-ready functionality car. So this car is meant to be used by consumers. So a consumer is supposed to get into this car and feel like, hey, this feels like, you know, production car made by a company. It's not like a janky student-made car. And that's a bit of a challenge in itself because the car has to feel and drive kind of like a car that you would drive and buy from a shop. So that's another unique challenge. Next slide, please. Cool. So we have 3 major subteams. PSI is the traditional mechanical electrical integration subteam. They kind of put all the components into the car. PCM is the propulsion controls and modeling. We kind of make all those components that we put in work together really well. And we also do a bit of modeling and simulation, kind of to figure out what our fuel economy is going to be ahead of time, and to test different things before we test it on the car. CAVS is our connected and automated vehicle subteam. They focus on all the vehicle autonomous features, as well as enabling V2X communication. And that's really cool. That's vehicles communicating with other vehicles, communicating with the stop sign, communicating with the red light. So, you know, if the red light's going to turn green soon, you don't have to brake. You can just like kind of cruise through the red light. And so they work on things like that, and it's super cool. Next slide, please. All right, so why EcoCAR? It's a unique opportunity for industry-level automotive experience. We build a consumer-ready vehicle, and we follow GM's vehicle development process. So GM gives us a car. We get to see the insides of a GM production car, kind of see how the industry does it, and we try to emulate them. We also work on the future of mobility. So we do electrification, and we also implement autonomous features. And if you're interested in what that looks like, EcoCAR would be the place for you. Next slide, please. Joining the team. Okay, so there's a tiny URL here, and that's all you need. There'll be more information there. We are a VIP team, which does mean that unfortunately the window to join us has closed this semester. But if you are interested in what we work on, the application is definitely open for the spring semester. You'll definitely, hopefully, get a chance to work on the car then when things open up a little bit more. But yep, that's pretty much about EcoCAR. Thank you so much. I think I just made it, or just went over.
Awesome. I'm not sure if Becca is still in here, but I can close it out just in case she isn't.
She's not.
Okay, awesome. So no matter your year major, I hope tonight showed you that there is a team at the SCC for you, whatever you're interested in. There's so many opportunities available, and even if you can't find one that's perfect, I'm sure any of the teams would be willing to help you create that perfect position for you. So if you're looking for some more information, please follow our Instagram. It's at GT_SCC. I'm going to make sure that I post reminders about all the individual team info sessions on there. And then additionally, if you haven't already, sign up at sccgt.org/join-the-SCC. With that, you'll also get some email reminders about those team info sessions and more updates about any other collaborative events that we hold in the future. So at this point, I guess we'll open it up to some questions. These can be general questions about the SCC, what it looks like to be on a team, or they can be specific questions. So as we saw earlier, we have reps from all the teams. So if you have a really serious question for Robo Jackets, this is a great time to voice that, or for any other team. So if you don't have a microphone, feel free to put your question in the chat, and I'll read it out loud. Otherwise, feel free to unmute and ask away.
I have a question. Do we have to pay membership dues to join any of the teams?
That's a great question. So as most of us are registered student orgs, we are required to collect dues fees. Since some of the funding we get from the school is dependent on our number of members, they implement those fees as a way of making sure that you don't fill your roster with a ton of members who aren't actually contributing, because that would get you a bigger cut of that money. So that fee is in place to make sure that the members you're reporting are actually involved members. So speaking at least for solar racing, we charge the minimum that we're allowed to, which is $50 a semester. And we try to offset this as much as possible by offering things like team t-shirts for free. We know that doesn't totally cover the expense, but we recognize that paying the fee isn't ideal, so we want to try to make it as good as possible. But it does get you access to these outstanding opportunities, and then also things with traveling for competitions. We work to try to subsidize those so that you can get those cool experiences for cheaper than you probably should be able to get them. So if any other teams want to talk about what dues look like for their team, feel free to go ahead.
I can also...
Sorry.
Let me just add something real quick here. So I was just gonna say, we also try to make sure like money and dues aren't the reason that you're turned away from the organization. So at least on solar, if you're super strapped for cash and you can't afford dues one semester, we usually try and make it work out. You just have to hit up one of the members of leadership, and we end up making it work out.
Yeah, Robojacket's the exact same way on that. And just so there's something specific, like a specific number for what dues are, the minimum that is required for the student orgs that we are to be charged is $55 a semester and $100 a year is the minimum.
Quick note for EcoCAR, because we are not a registered student org and we operate as a VIP class, I guess you pay tuition, so you take class credit, and yeah, EcoCAR is, you don't have to pay dues to be an EcoCAR.
All right. We have a question from the chat. Has GTMS decided when they will hold their individual interest meeting? So can a rep from GTMS take that one?
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to be holding our meetings on the 24th and 27th of August at 8 p.m. And there's going to be a Blue Jeans link that'll be sent out. And right after this meeting, there's actually going to be a giant push with all of the team's info sessions on our social media pages as well. The SCC social media page, for that matter.
Yeah, the social medias are definitely the way to go. Everything is posted there all the time. AJ does a great job with the Instagrams.
That's an interesting question.
Yep, so I'll read it out loud just so it's captured for the recording. The question is, would it be beneficial to join training programs for multiple SCC teams if we have no experience? So one thing to note here is there's no specific rule saying you have to join only one SCC team. But with these teams, we really like to say the more you put into it, the more you get out. So you just have to make sure that with whatever your class schedule looks like, you're not spreading yourself too thin. If you have a really hard semester and then you're trying to split your time between solar racing and GT off-road, for example, you might be spreading yourself thin to a point where you're not getting the full experience out of either. So there's no rule saying you can only join one, but you want to make sure that you can commit enough time to fully capitalize on those experiences. If any other...
I want to add to that as well.
Awesome.
I'm not exactly sure how the other teams are going to be doing it this year, but High Tech for the first 2 weeks will not be charging dues. Like, we're going to be allowing you to come to our training sessions. And I'm sure the other teams are doing something similar, so you can kind of hop around between them and go to both of them at the same time without actually making a commitment.
Yeah, as a personal testimony, I think my freshman year I joined off-road and solar, and just found that I needed more time and wanted to focus on one, and ultimately chose off-road. I know some people have been successful doing two teams, but it's definitely the minority between all the teams.
Awesome. Hopefully that answered the question. If not, feel free to type in the chat again. Then we also have, does RoboJackets participate in the DJI RoboMasters competition? So I think that's a good question for Alex.
Yeah, I was typing that in the chat in answer to that. But so no, we do not. I was going to note that the way we were founded was as an umbrella organization, was kind of how we were created, where we continually add new robotics competitions. So one day, potentially, if we have enough interested members, that is something that could get proposed and turned into a team if enough interested people in it, but we do not have anyone who participates in it right now. The other comment I'm going to make is I think it's a really cool competition, and I personally wanted a bunch of people to want to do it and have it be added as the next RoboJackets team because I watched the videos of that competition. So that's my dream. So please help make it happen.
That's an incredible answer. Another question from the chat that got answered already, but I just want to preserve it for the recording, which is, are dues per team? And yes, you do pay dues for each team that you are a part of.
I had a question that I wanted to ask.
Yeah, go for it.
I know that for EcoCAR the VIP is required, but I know there's a VIP class for some of the other clubs, and it seems to be optional. Can y'all speak to the difference between being in the VIP class and being just in the club, why we should do both, why we shouldn't, things like that?
Absolutely.
I can go real quick about why VIP is not a registered student org. So we are part of the competition organized by Department of Energy, Argonne National Lab. And they do kind of make us have a class as part of participating in the program. So they do require us to participate in the program as a class that offers credit on campus. But we are looking into trying to register as a student organization. I think it gives students a bit more flexibility between choosing, to either take it for credit or take it as an interest, an external interest. And that's something that might come up in future years. But for now, we are kind of only operating as a VIP class.
Yeah, I can weigh in on solar. We also have a VIP program. It's not required like EcoCAR, but it is pretty good to have supplementally, like with your time on solar racing. I've been doing VIP. I think I've done it 3 semesters now. At least for computer engineers, and I think also for computer science majors, you get quite a bit of credit towards your degree. And also, I know for ECE, you can use like a solar project as your senior design, and you can kind of use what you do on solar to count towards your degree. So for me, it was really nice. It felt like I wasn't, even though you get a ton of great experience, it feels like you're not wasting time by doing a club, kind of, because you're also working towards your degree.
For off-road, we have a VIP that's optional. Most of the members in our VIP are actually just regular members in the club. There are a few that are only VIP members and not regular members of the club. We try to treat our VIP as I call it like a skunk works, where we do like very long-term development projects that might not necessarily fit perfectly in like a design cycle. So that's usually where our VIP projects go, and they're projects that are like worked on for multiple semesters. So I've been on VIP, I think 3 semesters in a row now. And it varies, but it's just a great way to get credit for the work that you're putting into your team, because it's a lot of hours, of course.
Awesome. Moving on to another question from the chat. This one is, do team leaders have the time to participate in other clubs and such, or do they devote all of their time to their SCC team? So this is going to vary from person to person, but there's definitely nothing saying that if you hit a leadership role, you're 100% fixed to your team. For some people, that is the case because they just love their team so much that they couldn't imagine spending a moment doing anything else. But at least for most of the people I know, they definitely still take on other involvements. I know a lot of people in leadership are peer instructors at other maker spaces, members of maybe non-engineering organizations on campus. Maybe they TA, but there's definitely plenty of leaders in the SCC teams that do the SCC and something else.
Yes,
I would give a personal.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
Do you have my personal, or you can give yours? Okay, cool.
Okay,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, so
online.
So again, I'm Solar Racing's electrical team lead. I've been the electrical lead. This is now going to be my third semester, and I've been a sub team lead prior to that. During a lot of that time, I've also participated in like band, orchestra, even did marching band and a couple of years ago, which is no small time commitment. And it's not really a club, but I'm also a TA for a computer science class, which does take time. So yeah, it's definitely possible, if not always easy.
And then for my personal experience, so I'm president of RoboJackets, but I'm also head admin for Humans vs. Zombies. In addition to that, I'm also part of another club. In addition to that, I do research. So it's possible. Do I recommend what I'm doing? No. But it's possible.
Yeah, I would say take everything with a grain of salt. Definitely don't overdo anything especially if you're a first year, like take it one step at a time, I would say. And really kind of gauge your time commitments towards things. And then once you feel that you can obtain a lot more responsibility, then go after it. But I would just say don't overexert yourself because you might get burnt out. That would be my only heads up there. But you can do it. Like Alex said, it is possible. And many of us have gotten to the point where we're to the point of exhaustion, but it's definitely an experience. That's for sure.
Awesome. I'm happy we got a couple perspectives, but I think the general idea is it's very possible. Just make sure you know yourself and your limits, and don't work yourself too hard. We want to be here as a constructive opportunity for you. We don't want to eat up your entire life. So you can really make it as big or little of a commitment as you need to fit it into your schedule in a healthy way, or unhealthy if you're Alex.
I don't know. Alex is doing fine. He's looking great to me.
Alex needs a nap.
Yeah, big old smile. He's got it.
Awesome. Do we have any more questions? There's still a good chunk of people in here, so feel free to speak up or throw something in the chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here. I feel like we definitely have some more questions.
Yeah, 28, 27. Okay, it's kind of dropping off pretty
quick. We're going
quick.
down.
All right.
Well, there's no bad questions. There are none.
Yeah, that's very true.
Ask literally anything.
All right. Well, we won't force it out of you guys, so we can call the meeting to a close. Oh, here we go. Why do meteors always land in craters? That's a question science can't answer. Science cannot answer that one. But like I was saying, we won't force questions out of you guys. We don't want to eat up valuable time in your first week. But speaking for myself, I'll hang around for a few minutes after the meeting. So if you want to hang out and answer or ask some questions with a bit smaller group, that's great. But otherwise, keep having a good first week of the semester, and make sure you stay tuned for all of our individual info sessions. That'll be really the best way to learn about the teams that you can kind of see yourself on from these sessions. So you guys all have a great night. And if you do have any questions, feel free to stick around, and we'll answer those to the best of our ability.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much for attending.